is Abdul Rahman. I'm a lecturer at a public university in Kenya. I deliver lectures in computing and informatics. In our last lesson, we discussed about the string reversal algorithm, and we had seen that it is actually of changing up the order of the character of a particular string in an opposite direction. Today, we are going to start up a new topic and basically answer ourselves what are arrays. And in that particular journey, we are going to define what are arrays, what are the available type of arrays, and basically we are going to take up what is the syntax or the structure of an array and then try to implement it. So let's start into that particular note and say actually what actually are the arrays. Actually, when we are talking about arrays, we are talking about a collection of elements. So it is actually array. They are collection of elements of the same data type with a common name. So arrays, they are collection of elements of the same data type with a common name, because as we see that if we have got a particular variable like a, when we are saying a, or we are saying int a is equal to 10, if we have seen that in memory we are allocating up a space for a and we are allocating the value of 10. However, if we want to put up another value, so it means this particular memory location actually it is erased and 20 is put up on this particular area. So actually at any one time we only can take up one value, but with an array, actually with an array it's very different. It's very different is because here we are saying it's a collection of elements that can take up more than one item. So let's take for example, now I want to put up, let's say I put up an array of int a. I want to put up several value. So to put up several value, actually we are supposed to put up square bracket and put up the size of those particular elements. And let's take for example, if a contains this particular values, that is 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50. So if these particular values are contained in a, then if you have our memory stack basically, and this is a, we'll have it here, we'll have our 10, here we'll have our 20, here we'll have our 30, here we'll have our 40, and basically here we'll have upper a 50. So this will be our element 1, element 2, element 3, element 4 and element 5. So we have seen actually here we can take up more than one element as opposed to our normal variable. So when we're talking about arrays, we are talking about a collection of this particular element, but there must be some rules. There must actually be some rules. And what are these particular rules for us to have? So rule number 1, elements must be of the same data type. And rule number 2, it is that the array size, this particular size, it must be actually a constant value. You cannot have a non-constant value. You should have a constant value or a fixed value at the end of the day. And another rule, it is that this particular element, they must be stored adjacent to each other. So to each other. So we are seeing that the first element is stored adjacent to the second and the third until actually the end. So basically that is what are arrays. So that one takes us into what are actually the types of array. So the type of arrays, there are basically only two of them. So the first type of an array is what we call one-dimensional array. So one-dimensional array. And the second type is what you call the multi-dimensional array. So these are the two types. One-dimensional array, basically it consists of what you call lists. List of elements. So this consists of lists of elements, and this particular list of elements, actually just like here, they are actually adjacent to each other, and sometimes this particular one-dimensional array is what we call a vector. And then here we have what you call multi-dimensional array. Multi-dimensional array, they are further actually divided into what you call 2D, two-dimensional array, three-dimensional array, four-dimensional array, up to n-dimensional array. And actually they consist of rows and columns in a table, and they are also sometimes what you call as a matrix. So sometimes they are called matrices, and they actually contain on a row and a column. So from here, let's see what is the syntax now of an array. A syntax of an array, we have seen it in a previous lesson. It's a very simple one. Actually, it is a data type. So we have to write up a data type, and then we have got the array name, and then we have up the array size inside there, and then you terminate. So basically that shows on to what it is the syntax of an array. However, these particular arrays, actually they are accessed using up an index. So this will be the index, and all the index start with 0. So that will be the index 0, index 1, index 2, index 3, and index 4. So it's very important to understand that we are particular. And how are they accessed? They are accessed using up this particular index. So actually this particular syntax, so you put up the array name and then square bracket, and then you have here your index number, and then terminate. So if we want to access element number 1, basically the element number 1, since the name of this particular array it is A, so we'll have what you call A, and then the index is 0. So A0, and then the second element will be A1, the third element will be A2, and the fourth element will be A3, and the fifth element will be A4. So this is how if you want to access. So this particular one is going to access the element number 1, and this one going to access element number 2, this one go to access element number 3, and this element number 4, and this element number 5. So basically that it is how it works. So from here, let's go to dev C++ and see how we can implement an array in a very simple manner. So from here, we'll take up an array, and that is our array A. So we'll say int A, and onto that particular int A, we'll have our size, and maybe here we are just talking about our size maybe to be 5. So we'll have our size to be 5, and we are going to pass on our arrays. On our arrays, maybe it was 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. So that is those are our arrays: 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. And each statement must be terminated, so we terminate our statement. Now, how do we access? We had said that just write here our printf. In our printf, basically, what are we having? %d. And what are we having? We are writing up our a, and then my square brackets, and putting up the index 0. So this one will access the first item, which is 10, and from here, yes, from here I can go on now to access the second element, which is actually 20. 20, it is in index 1, so index 1, and then from there actually we can take to go to the next one. So we can take and go to the next one. So from here we go to take up to the next one. So the next item, it is 30. So from 30 basically it is 30, it is index number 3. So here it's index number 2. So that one we go to index number 2, and then we go to 40, it is index number 3. So here we are talking about index number 3, and the last item, which is 50, it is actually index number 4. So the last one, it is index number 4, and that is our index number 4. So if we run this particular program, we are supposed to access 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50 using up this particular syntax of name is equal to index, and we have seen it here how it is done. So let's execute this particular program. So after executing this particular program, yes, actually, yes, it gives us, okay, the values of A, B as 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. And basically that it is how we actually implement this particular program. So that comes us to the end of our program. And however, don't forget to subscribe into our next lessons. And actually in our next lesson, we are going to take what you call one-dimensional array and try to expand and learn more about it. Thank you very much.